Kim Jong-un might be the most feared president in the world now, but back in 2010, just like every other North Korean watching, he witnessed a dark day in the country's football history. For the first time in 44 years, North Korea was going to be playing a third group stage match at the World Cup, but what happened that evening is something they'd quickly want to forget. The Cape Town Stadium, over 63,000 people watching, Portugal came into this one with a weird feeling too. They'd gone 2 games into the competition and still hadn't scored yet. North Korea, on the other hand, was playing for pride, but as soon as the ref blew the whistle for kickoff, history was in the making. The opening 5 minutes were tough. Say the rain fell hard in Cape Town that day, the pitch was wet, and the players were soaked. Ronaldo's effort was the first one on target, and a few minutes later, Ricardo Carvalho found himself in the box, but he showed why he's a center back and not a center forward. Think he mixed it up? You're supposed to shoot at the goal, not clear it. North Korea still stayed in the game right after, until the 7th-minute mark when Portugal almost took the lead. Carvalho hit the post, and now North Korea was living on the edge. Still, they weren't completely out of the game. In fact, if anything, Carvalho hitting the bar kind of woke them up, because in the 11th minute, they came close. Cha Jong-hyuk from 30 yards wasn't that far away at all. In fact, from that point on, they looked more dangerous than Portugal. In the 15th minute, Hong Young-jo dinked a fine ball in for Jong Tae-se, but the ball just zipped across the pitch and he couldn't control it. North Korea actually fancied this one, and in the 18th minute, just like Portugal earlier, they too came close. Hong Young-jo forced a good save from Eduardo, and Park Nam-chip cleared the bar with his header. North Korea had Portugal on the ropes now. Portugal managed to create few chances within this period, but this was North Korea's spell of domination. And the 24th minute, Jae-yoon Nam, the guy who scored for North Korea against Brazil, tried to do the same against Portugal. At this point, they were completely dominant, and the fans started wondering if the rain was affecting Portugal's performance or if North Korea simply had a game plan to beat them. But all of that finally changed in the 26th minute with Portugal's first real moment of quality. 1-0! Thiago's threw a ball to Meireles, and Meireles did the rest. Portugal was in front. The goal seemed to give Portugal the edge they needed. North Korea fell off a bit, but it was still tight, until the 35th minute when Meireles almost made it 2. North Korea's defender Park Chol-jin mishit his clearance, and Meireles should have doubled his tally in Portugal's lead, but he missed. The North Koreans were becoming too easy to get past. All this period on, after the early minutes, Ronaldo had gone quiet, almost as if he was ghosting the match, but in the 42nd minute, he sent a gentle reminder to everyone watching that all it could take was a blink to be all up in the headlines again. Cut in and dragged his shot wide. Portugal had a couple of decent half chances after this. Coentrão put in a cross for Andre Almeida, but he couldn't direct his effort on goal. Simao then put in a cross for Meireles, but it just missed his head. And after the 1 added minute was over, the ref blew the whistle for halftime. Portugal had the lead and had created a lot of chances, but that spell where North Korea came close with long-range shots was a gentle reminder that if they slipped up, North Korea was more than capable of making them pay. The game was still tight, at least with the scoreline, but in the second half, the match imploded. Hang on, you're watching this and still haven't subscribed to Total Footy yet? Just hit that button down below. North Korea took the kickoff and the game was back on. Portugal was intent on making sure they doubled that lead at all costs, and just 2 minutes into the second half in the 47th minute, they almost did. Thiago hit a hard shot from 20 yards, and North Korea's goalie, Ray Myung-guk, had to arch back just to clear it. Less than 1 minute later, Ronaldo had another pop shot at goal. He must have been playing invisible rugby at that point, miles off. In the 49th minute, Ray Myung-guk almost gave Portugal a giveaway second goal. Hot potato, too hot to handle. Lucky for him, Almeida couldn't get the rebound in time, and Ray Myung-guk cleared the ball away. North Korea showed they were still in the match in the 51st minute. Jong Tae-se's low free kick took a slight deflection and was easy for Eduardo to save in Portugal's goal in the 52nd minute. Ronaldo and Coentrão combined to send in a low cross to the 6-yard box for Almeida, but he once again couldn't see his shot straight to goal. But now, Portugal was done playing games. They had a lot of near chances so far, and it was time for them to make one finally count. Portugal's right back Miguel played it long to Mireles on the edge of the box, chested it off Almeida, and once the ball came to Simão, he did the rest. 2-0. Portugal now had breathing space. Before the second goal, the game was still tight. The North Koreans still believed they could get something out of the game if they went all in, but now guys, after that second goal, Portugal hit another gear, and from that point on, there was no turning back. 3 minutes later, and they were actively looking for a third. Fabio Coentrão made another galloping run at left back, and once he put that cross in, Almeida couldn't miss. 3-0, Portugal wasn't just playing for the win now, they wanted to score as many more as possible. In all of Portugal's 3 goals so far, their star man Ronaldo hadn't been directly involved in any. Against a North Korean team many people expected him to bag goals against. Still, Ronaldo wasn't playing for himself though, he was putting the team first. Didn't matter as long as they were winning, right? I mean, if he wasn't going to score, he could at least make the assist. 60 minutes gone, 4-0 Portugal. Ronaldo ran past the North Korean defense down the left and passed it deliberately back to the edge of the area. Soon as Thiago came onto it, all he had to do was guide it into the far corner, and he did! 4-0! Portugal knew they couldn't take any chances. They had to score as many as possible. 2 games, a 0-0 draw to Ivory Coast, and a 1-0 loss to Brazil meant if Ivory Coast could get a result against Brazil, it could be a difficult situation for them unless they won heavily. With 4 now, you'd think they would ease up a bit now they were in the clear. Wrong! Portugal was still looking for more goals, and in the 63rd minute, Raul Mireles almost made it 5. Ronaldo found himself on the right wing this time, and he played a stunning ball for Mireles into the box. But Mireles' shot was off target, should have been 5, and 5 minutes later, Portugal had another golden chance again. Coentrão and Ronaldo were once again in sync, but Coentrão couldn't find the finish to match. In the 70th minute, Raul Mireles went off, and though he had missed a couple of chances, he had a solid game up to that point. But all eyes were still on Ronaldo. Portugal had scored 4 and he hadn't registered one to his name yet, and in the 71st minute, he came so close. Look at the crossbar shake after he hit that dip and swerve shot, inches away. It was starting to look like it wouldn't be Ronaldo's evening. He had another chance at goal in the 72nd minute, but still couldn't make it count. The game kind of drifted off a bit after that. Portugal had made substitutions too. Hugo Almeida was replaced with Leitzen, Simão was out for Duda, and one of them finally paid off into the 81st minute now, and Portugal finally got a 5th. Leitzen, he had been only on the pitch for 3 minutes and he'd made it 5. Blasted it into the top corner. Portugal had very little to play for after that, 5 goals up. Ivory Coast was losing to Brazil on the other hand, meaning Portuguese qualification for the World Cup was definitely guaranteed, but one man still hadn't finished his night's work. Ronaldo, and now it was so obvious he desperately wanted to be on the scores sheet. He'd come close and assisted Thiago too, but there is no feeling quite like scoring, and with 3 minutes left to play, CR7 finally got his big moment. 6-0 Portugal. Ronaldo's first goal at the World Cup, mission complete. It doesn't matter how it came so long as it did. Look at the smile on his face, man, it says a lot. Ronaldo and Portugal had done a job in North Korea and they somehow still wanted more. In the 89th minute, Coentrão made another speedy run down the left wing, put in a cross, and a former goalscorer arrived just in time to complete the rout. Thiago scored his second goal of the game. Portugal had legit thumped North Korea for 7 at the World Cup. Full time now, and it was mission complete. Portugal came into the match needing to at least win to qualify to the round of 16. They also hadn't scored in the 2 games they'd played in the tournament up to that point, but by full time, all of that was complete. Portugal had done a job in North Korea and secured their biggest win in the competition's history. For North Korea, this was bad, but what happened when they got back was even worse. According to reports, when they got back, the North Korean players were forced onto a stage at a palace court with over 400 government officials and journalists watching, and were publicly trashed by these guys for 6 hours. Manager Kim Jong-un was even forced to quit his role as coach and become a construction worker. Damn, I bet if Ronaldo and his teammates knew this would happen, they'd probably have stopped at 3. I know you enjoyed this video, and the best part is, there's more on the channel. Click that subscribe button to Total Footy so you don't miss out on all the action.